Are we rolling, Kenneth? We are. So pre-recorded this week. Apologies, especially to anyone who is new to the program. I have it's Thursday afternoon that I'm doing. So this is going to be probably a short one today. I'm squeezing this in between my morning work and my evening work. So I gotta rip this and get down to the gym to teach a couple of cardio classes tonight and then set up for tomorrow. So the other option was to not do an episode again this week because I took last week off to do my 22-mile run, which was lovely, a nice one. I did it down the shore. The boardwalk's got a nice bounce to it, very very gentle on the knees. But tomorrow, Friday night, while you are watching this, I will be at a charity event my lady friend is running, so I would not be able to be home for the live stream this week. Should be back for it next week, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm pretty positive that I'll be able to do it live next week at 8. What else? Sorry, I am fucking exhausted right now. I just finished last weekend was my I did the 22-mile run, and then I finished up my bodybuilding coaching certification, which involved pretty much an entire weekend of doing homework and taking tests. So it's been and then I went right into the work week. I didn't get to take my usual nap on Tuesday because I had a dentist appointment, and it all just kept snowballing from there. So I am a sleepy boy today. I just polished off one of these Celsiuses, so hopefully I'll pull my head out of my ass before this episode gets too off track. But the usual, the socials: Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, and of course the YouTube here at Mike's Golden Streams. Sacktap Live. Share it with your friends. Let them know. I don't do a whole lot of promoting of this because I just have many other things going on. So like the whole sharing clips and all of that stuff just isn't going on right now. Perhaps someday, but I know there are a few newcomers to the page, to the chat, as it were. We do have a very lively live chat that goes on here when the show is actually live. So hopefully you can catch one of the actual live episodes. Otherwise, we'll do a couple news stories here, catch up on what's gone on since I last checked in with y'all. The COVID anniversary passed, I guess, just a week ago today, the 13th. I feel like that Friday the 13th was when it all started. On COVID Eve, which was Thursday the 12th, I think. That was when everything started shutting down around here. And the bars had to close by 10 o'clock that night. And I had a Bumble date, and we got kicked out of the bar at 10. So, seizing upon the opportunity, I suggested that we go back to my place for one more, and wound up eating new ass that night. So COVID wasn't bad for everybody. I also went, so this chick lived in the vicinity of where my parents were. My parents vacated their place to go down the shore, so it was just an available apartment. So I would go back to their apartment and kind of treat it like a clubhouse, and shower up, have a drink, relax, and then walk a few blocks to this chick's place to do what a man does. And I guess the last time that I did this, I must have taken a shit in the master bathroom at my parents' place, and I guess I forgot to flush. Like I closed the lid and hopped right in the shower, and didn't flush. So when they came back, like I guess eventually they came back up to like, they wound up moving out of the apartment. It was just like this temporary place they lived after they sold the house that I grew up with. They moved to the next town over and lived in like, those like big fucking those apartment buildings are popping up everywhere now where, all the units are exactly the same, like that millennial white kind of fucking, they're all over the goddamn place. They, had a lot of ground floor retail. It had, there was like a Starbucks and an Anthony's coal-fired pizza downstairs. So it was just like a very convenient little place to live. And it was a very convenient place to use as a pre-fuck clubhouse. But yeah, like, I guess, a month or so later, they were up there, cleared it out, and my brother texts me. He's like, "Hey, did you take a shit in mom and dad's bathroom and not flush it like 3 weeks ago?" And apparently, I did. That was me. Sorry, but COVID memories, baby. The trade war with Canada, I guess, continues. I don't know. I don't follow a whole lot of that stuff. Mostly what the fuck is going on with my screen? Oh, there it is. Okay. It looked like my screen went completely black. Yeah. There have been audio and video issues with this show before. So would anyone have been surprised if I was just sitting here talking behind a fucking black blank screen? But Canada, the new thing that Canadians are saying, I guess, is elbows up. So they had the SNL 50 thing, and Mike Myers was on the stage when they did the curtain call, and he was pointing. He had his elbow up, and he was pointing at it, I guess, as a signal to Canadians to put their elbows up because we're in this trade war with Canada. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know what products I buy from. I don't buy a whole lot of maple syrup, but apparently that's what Canadians are going around saying. Elbows up, eh? And look, I know that there are those of you from the Great North who enjoy this show, and I thank you for being here. I won't charge you a tariff to listen to it or to watch it, but elbows up is the cheesiest fucking shit I've ever heard. Like, if your war cry is elbows up, you're gonna get fucking rolled. I guess elbows up is what they say, I guess, in hockey. I don't remember hearing this. I played roller hockey. There was a roller hockey craze in America, and particularly in New Jersey, in the late 90s. Everyone got really into roller hockey. And I think in New Jersey in particular, because the Devils were so good during this stretch and the Rangers were very good. So it was what was hot in the streets, and it was combined with that. There's that sort of surge in the popularity of inline skating. If you remember, if you went to high school or middle school back then, you might remember a lot of kids wearing very baggy pants, the wallet chains, and they'd be doing inline skating. They would skate like all the X Games shit. They would have those. You either had hockey skates and played hockey, or you had the skates with. There was a pair called chocolates were very popular. I remember kids bragging about getting chocolates, and they had on the chassis of the skate, they had like a curved plate that you could use to grind. It was a very big deal, apparently, to some people that I went to middle school with, that you'd be able to grind with your skates. And these kids would constantly talk about grinding. Now, if you're a grinder, it's taken on a complete different connotation. I have no idea how the grind set community and the anonymous gay sex community stole grinding from the skate kids of the 1990s. I don't know how that happened, but if you weren't a grinder, there was a good chance that you played hockey. And I mean, even the kids who didn't play hockey were inline skating, because skating parties where you should go to a skating party at some rink, and you would get into fights with people. It was great. There'd be kids from another town, and you would go and you would get into fights on skates. It was like an even gayer West Side Story. Uh, but I played organized roller hockey during this time, and I don't remember anyone teaching us elbows up, eh? But yeah, so that is the Canadian war cry, elbows up. And it is funny because I go Twitter and Reddit are two of my favorite websites, and if you cruise Reddit, like, first, there's so many Canadians who are apparently furious about this, talking about it as like this massive betrayal, and it's this and that and whatever. Which again, like, I don't, I don't wake up every day. It's not like the fucking bombing of Dresden. Like, we're not, you read books about what things were like in the Balkans during that war, when when Milosevic was ethnic cleansing people, and they're talking about how, like, civilians couldn't walk across the street because snipers would just take them out. Like, a child would chase a soccer ball into the middle of the street, and some fucking guy would just fucking paint the asphalt with the kid's brains from a mile and a half away. But yeah, Canadians are in an uproar about it. And if you go on Reddit, they're like, you never know. I don't know what is what, like, honestly, because there are people who just hang out on the internet writing lengthy fiction all day. So, like, some of it might just be people who are bored writing a bunch of just wild shit on, they're just basically doing, like, writing character work, basically. But if not, then there are people out there from America who are writing, like, multi-paragraph apologies to the Canadian people for what our apparent Nazi leaders are doing down here. And again, I don't know about any of that. I haven't dove too deeply into this. I just keep seeing them write elbows up, and then I saw the Mike Myers thing, and I was like, man, fucking Canada is down bad if that's all they've got. But anyway, if you're from Canada and you're in the chat, don't worry about it. I still love you. This is not something that has happened in quite some time, since I've been working out at the new very nice gym that I go to. But at the old gym, when I used to work out at this Retro Fitness in Hoboken, there was this weirdo who used to eat in the locker room. Like, he would eat full on fucking meals in the locker room. And I tried to sort of strongman his position in every way possible. But I couldn't. Like, I could not land on a, here's why it makes sense that this guy is doing this. It's like, oh, maybe he's like a busboy or something. He doesn't have anywhere to go. And I was like, but, like, it's beautiful, there's a park, beautiful Hudson River views, and all of that. Like, I just tried to find every possible reason, and I couldn't. And this is the only place I've been to many, many gyms. Many gyms, and this is the only place I've ever seen anyone dine in the locker room in such a flagrant way. Until the other day, I walk into the fucking locker room to get changed, and this is a tight locker room. This is a locker room where it's like, I mean, the size of less than a studio apartment. It's just a little box. So you get changed 7 feet away from where people are taking a shit, and the showers are right next to that. So it, as good of a gym as this place is, their locker room needs a lot of. I would bust out half the fucking gym to build the locker room, to be honest. But they don't have a lot of space. So what happens is, it's often there's some steam that will meet with the smell of the smell of shit, and it'll just kind of create a stew in the air. And it's not the kind of place you want to eat, but lo and behold, I walk in and some fucking guy, not only is he eating, but he's got a little paper towel on the bench, where guys put their asses and their shit. They tie, you pop a foot up on the bench to tie your shoe, or you might put your ass there, your damp, sweaty ass after a workout, and he's just got a little piece of paper towel with apple slices on it, and he's eating the apple slices off of the paper towel, and it was hands down one of the most disturbing things I've been to a war zone. I've seen the results of IED blasts. I've seen someone the aftermath of somebody getting fucking pistol whipped. I've been into Iraqi jails, and this was one of the most disturbing things I have ever seen. Was this fucking guy eating apples off of the bench in the locker room, a couple feet away from the shitter in a steamy environment. But to each his own. And before we move on, I also watched American Pie. I hadn't watched the OG American Pie in a little while, which a little while is probably like 6 months for me. I do screen it multiple times a year, but every time I watch it, I pick up a little something else. And I think one of the things that's great about American Pie is that it takes things like teenagers scheming to lose their virginity, and like manipulate chicks into sex, and just all of these things that these days you'd get a fucking a whiny Rolling Stone article written about, and it makes them at first glance appear very wholesome. Like the fucking when Kevin eats his girlfriend's box while the parents are downstairs, it's supposed to be like this big moment for them, but like the ultimate, and these are peppered throughout the movie. The ultimate for me is the closing scene of the movie when the song "Sway" by the artist, I think her name is Bikrunga, is playing, and it's this very if you were around back then, late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of this female-driven indie rock that was very soulful and emotional and hopeful, about love and relationships, and the Jewel, and etc. And artists like her. Not the poppy sort of Avril Lavigne stuff that would come a little bit later, but the more very down tempo, emotional stuff. And they're going through, it's this whole montage of the night as prom night fades into the morning after. All of the guys have peeled off with their women, and they are now consummating their agreement to each other. Their pact to lose their virginity by prom night is now unfolding. The culminating moment of the movie, what we all came to see, is happening, and the song and the way it's shot, it gives it this feeling of this, tender moment amongst lovers, and Ostreicher and Mina Suvari are out on like the dock, and Kevin and his girlfriend are up in the bedroom, and she's wearing his shirt afterwards, and it's all made to seem at first glance very romantic until you've seen it enough times, I guess, to kind of view it through the lens where, oh no, what's actually going on is this, Mina Suvari is losing her virginity on a dock. Like, she's getting, splinters up her ass, and she's having her hymen broken by some jock just fucking, first of all, he's been, I'm sure he was rock hard, but also, like, anyone who's been drinking beers all night and has been fucking, it's prom, so he's been fucking dancing and fucking running around. There's a good possibility that it wasn't a completely turgid erection that he was trying to fucking cram in there. And then you realize that you're just watching slow motion, moment after moment, teenage girls being deflowered at some guy's lake house. Stifler's mom got the lake house in the divorce. So like when Stifler's dad bought the lake house, one wonders if he or the realtor or anyone involved in the transaction, like when whoever sold the lake house to Stifler's dad, you wonder if they thought, one day a bunch of teenage girls are going to lose their virginity here. And that's just something you think of. And I don't know if it's possible to think of that as a teenager when you're seeing the movie for the first time, because, it's not until you hit your 30s and all of a sudden a lot of people that are buying houses and stuff, and you think more maybe about the process of buying real estate and what it means to occupy a home and etc. But so just a fascinating reflection on that. But in the news this week, a Doge quest is apparently underway. There's a website out there. I guess I don't know if it's a website or an app or something like that. It was an online map of Tesla owners' personal information. Apparently, it is now essential to be a good liberal. You have to attack anyone who owns a Tesla. So they're spray painting them. They're keying them. Apparently some guy set himself on fire, I guess throwing a Molotov cocktail at one. Some fucking genius. Really, really just wild fucking behavior. And it's one of I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who does this. You really do have to buy into the belief that we've been hijacked by some sort of Nazi regime if you're going to do this, right? I'm trying to wrap, because you go out, a normal person goes out for a walk and they see a car, even if it has a political sticker or some shit that you disagree with on it, and your thought is not, oh, I'm going to go key that vehicle. It takes a lot of steps to do that. It's an act of violence against another person, effectively, right? Because not only are you destroying or attempting to ruin their property, but you're also sort of implying via that that action, that they, as the owner of this vehicle, are not welcome wherever they have come, and that perhaps there is more to come after this. So it's very, 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 I don't know if interesting isn't the word. I mean, the people who are doing this are the usual types, right? They are the campus liberal, now graduated, living in Portland or wherever, or the fucking the old shaggy haired Gen Xer fucking aging punk type, the fuck you man type. Probably a lot of the same types who are posting on fucking Reddit about Americans joining our Canadian neighbors to the north and their elbows up, eh? But they're getting caught on camera all over the place. Like, it's not, apparently every Tesla has an onboard camera, so the internet now is just flooded with videos of people trying to be discreet in keying a fucking Tesla. And their pictures are getting posted everywhere, and they're getting arrested for it. And it's the most, like, it's the possibly the dumbest fucking thing you could get yourself arrested for, is keying someone's car that they, obviously they might have bought years ago or whatever, like before Elon Musk had anything to do with politics, is keying their car because you don't like Elon Musk. Like, that is a just legitimately crazy thing to do. And I guess it comes from two places, if I had to guess. I would say the younger crowd that's doing it, it's because they've been on college campuses or they were in big cities or whatever during like the Floyd protests, or on college campuses during, maybe some of these Hamas things or whatever else kids were doing on fucking campuses, where they just sort of, young people sort of had this carte blanche to destroy things, and people, be they, liberal mayors or liberal school administrators, were just kind of looking the other way on it and saying, okay, no, don't worry, we'll clean up after you, and you're just expressing your outrage and all this other nonsense. I think there's probably a good bit of that. And then there's also this other group, I would say, like the Gen X, the aging punk set, probably who are Gersh Kuntzman adjacent, that type. They all kind of look like Gersh Kuntzman. All these fucking 50-year-old dudes who are getting busted doing this look like Gersh Kuntzman. And I wouldn't be stunned if he was. I feel like Gersh is a little too savvy to do it himself. But like, they came up at a time when there wasn't a camera everywhere. So, and they get very hot-headed, and a lot of them, again, probably live in sort of liberal enclaves where they think that the community will protect them for what they're doing, and they have this sort of righteous sense of justice, and they do it, and they don't realize that the Teslas have a built-in camera that just catches their face. Fucking, like, I've seen so many fucking videos of this. It's ridiculous. Just today, I've seen like videos of 4 different people doing this. And again, it's not, as a teenager, of course, wanton vandalism was a big part of my life. I never destroyed a car. I was more of a throw stuff at people from a moving vehicle kind of guy, and various other antics. But there was a summer when I was in 10th grade, the summer after 9th grade, I was grounded all summer because my parents caught me stealing their fucking booze that had been collecting dust under the bar for years. I figured I was in the clear to help myself. But I was walking out of the house with it in a water bottle, my cargo pants, and the the dog jumped up on me and my cargo pants fucking waved back and forth, and my fucking parents asked me what was in the bottle, and it unfolded from there. But as a result of that, I missed out on a summer of hood ornament stealing. My friends they went down the shore and they got bored on the beach, so they walked to the parking lot, and they were just walking through the parking lot ripping hood ornaments off of luxury vehicles. And they decided, hey, not enough that we just did this in this parking lot in fucking Long Branch. What do you say we do this back home too? So the whole summer, they're just ripping hood ornaments off of cars. And this activity became so popular that they were like, it's just spread between my class and the class below us. And like 30 dudes were going around town ripping hood ornaments off of cars. And this is a town of, 11,000 people. So, it wasn't long before a lot of people were calling the cops saying, hey, somebody ripped a hood ornament off of my car. And the police were this happened in late June, early July, the infamous beach trip, because I got caught on literally the last day of school. I was going to meet my friends in town, and we were going to get good and tuned up. So I was grounded on the last day of school. This beach trip happened, maybe a week later. Let's say, just for the sake of, the calendar, that it happened on July 1st. We had football practice starting, I think it's like August 14th or so. We usually start the preseason. And by the time preseason started, the police investigation was underway. And while preseason was going on, people were getting called down to the police station because they were on this list. There was just all this talk going around about this list. There was a list of names, and if you were on the list, you were going to get called down. And I mean, it was a nail biting. I hadn't done an ounce of this, so like deep down, I knew there was no fucking way that I could get in trouble for this. But even I was like, had like a tinge of nervousness, because I was friends with everybody who was doing this. Like, it was like my core group of friends were the ones doing it. But I avoided. It turned out that most of the guys who got nailed were in the class below me, because I guess what happened was one of the guys in my class had like recruited these guys to do it, because the plan was they were going to take these things and go sell them in like Patterson and Harlem, right? A bunch of white teenagers from the suburbs were going to go to chop shops in the inner city, and they were going to sell luxury car hood ornaments. A fine idea that was. So probably actually lucky that community service is the only thing they wound up with. But yeah, what a summer. But what an idiotic thing. These are all adults doing this. And it is going to be a lot of fun just watching the articles pile up about people who are getting arrested for vandalizing Teslas. So if you are out there and someone because look, this stream doesn't have a whole lot of reach, but also its listenership is spread out to enough different places that there is the possibility that someone watching this knows someone who has gotten busted for this, or who will get busted for this. I guess this is like the liberal version of like the January 6th crowd. Like, somewhere out there, everyone is loosely connected to someone who stormed the Capitol. somewhere out there, everyone is loosely connected to someone who is going around vandalizing Teslas and will eventually get caught because, again, there are cameras everywhere. So do us a solid, and if you know one of these people, please, 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 comment. Let me know the next time we're live and you're in the comments section. Tell us a little bit about them. Give us some info. Comment with the news story, and a little bit about what it was like growing up with this person and how you think they got there, because I am fascinated to know. Before we wrap up, here, because I do have to get ready. Like I said, this was going to be a shorter episode today. We're at about 35 minutes. I'm very sorry I can't go the full hour, but I do have to get ready to go teach my classes. I wanted to give out this a shout out to this Indiana teacher accused of gangbang with students that she asked to wear scream masks. So apparently, she's 31, and I guess she had lost a bunch of weight, which she claims. I'm looking at this older picture of her before she lost the weight. This, by the way, the picture I'm looking at is a picture. I'll go ahead and do a little share ski here. Just a second. So I'm certainly not going to go ahead and accuse her of being hot, but she does look like, and again, we come across a lot of this here in these tales of perversion. The full-figured, bleached blonde, showing off cleavage, doing something sexual with someone that she's not supposed to. There is something about this type of woman where they exude horny. Like, she's not the kind of gal you're going to walk around holding hands with at the mall. But if you are at Cancun, this is the scenario that always comes into my head, is this is the kind of chick you run into at a Senor Frogs in another country, and you just took back in the day, it would be a Viagra that you bought off the guy on the beach. Fucking these days, you got Blue Chew, you just bring one down with you. But, you went on this vacation, and the only thing you had designs on was drinking, fucking, and, maybe sampling some of the local pharmaceuticals and getting a little bit of sun. And she's there. She's making it real easy for you. And, a few shots and a couple hours later, and you're back in her hotel room, and you've got a face full of tan lines while you stick your tongue up her ass. And she is now accused of seducing or forcing, or whatever you want to call it, a bunch of middle school students, and asking them to gangbang her. She gave them mushrooms and asked if they wanted to gangbang her while wearing scream masks. They accepted, by the way. So because a lot of the articles I've seen have said she forced them to do it. But apparently, according to TMZ, the alleged gangbang went on for around 2 hours, which, by the way, these kids, the problem is, these kids are going to be going to college in a couple years, and they're going to now have the sexual expectation that is what sex is like. That it's not, because, freshman, like college sex in retrospect is really not that good. Like just no one really knows what they're doing yet. Like you're all, you know, you're giving it a lot of hustle. You're all go, but fucking, there's not a lot of technique or skill going on. These guys are going to be showing up on college campuses thinking that sex involves four people, a few scream masks, and some magic mushrooms. Like they're going to be really, really let down the first time they go back to some fucking chick's dorm room and there's a half-eaten bowl of Easy Mac on the desk and they're trying to do missionary with a drunk erection into a barely lubricated vagina on a twin bed under the covers while someone's roommate fucking sleeps or watches season 3 of The Office 6 feet away. So this is that's really the damage that's been done. Otherwise, just what a story. And how about this guy? Poor Nicholas Matthew Fortenberry. A picture of his lady. He was at a barbecue one day and took a picture of his wife. What he thought was probably that, she was looking good. She had lost a bunch of weight. So she's tan, so it's summertime at a backyard barbecue. He's living. The living is good. Takes a picture, posts it. Fuck it. He's getting compliments. People are talking about how, she looks great. Good for you, man. Oh, wife looks great. All that shit. Not knowing in the moment that he snapped that picture that it was going to one day be used in an article about how his wife, she could have done this with him. She could have bought him a Scream mask. Maybe it's his fault. Like maybe she came home with the Scream mask and said, "Hey, fucking throw this on and fuck me." And he said no. It was too much for him. There was too much kink there because obviously it is a little bizarre. Although I do have, as it happens, I do have. I've got this bad boy right here, left over from Halloween, and just gonna pop this onto the futon real quick. Because I might put that in my overnight bag the next time I head over to my old lady's house. But for whatever reason, she did not do this with her husband. Or maybe she did, and she enjoyed it so much she thought, "Hey, it was fun when there was one. How about if there's three?" Yeah, no, the three. I guess 3 middle schoolers add up. That's like 1.5 men. But anyway, yeah, so allegedly this chick has did it say what time of year it was? I feel like outside of October. To me, it's less weird if she did this in October. That's what I would say. Does it mention if it was after a homecoming or Halloween dance? Does not. Oh, well. Let's get her out of here. And that's that. Poor guy. But I do have to wrap things up. I could read that story for days. I may get, what's this broad's name? Brittany Fortenberry. Look, not the prettiest girl at the dance, but she does have a certain freak to her. I may give, next time I hop in the shower, I may give old Brittany Fortenberry a couple rounds just for the sport of it. And perhaps you should too. A little, you can jerk off to a fucking 10 on Brazzers every day. Sometimes it's fun to have a little something different. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Hopefully live next week. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, and on YouTube at Mike's Golden Streams. Appreciate you guys being here. If you like what you see, please tell your friends, and I will hopefully catch you next time. Adios.